Mark Grandy was booked for 315. It's now 319. What's your Nick Bosa conspiracy theory, Mr. Grandy, Mr. picking 13th overall guy?
Man.
Yeah.
So I was having this thought after you guys mentioned the news earlier today, the report from Jason Dumas that the Niners are progressing on their contract negotiations with Nick Bosa. And I thought, it's kind of funny. It happened the day after roster cutdown day. And then, of course, Nick Bosa isn't on the 53-man roster because he's on a separate reserve list because he hasn't reported to camp just yet. And it got my mind thinking, what if the San Francisco 49ers, feeling a little bit of a roster crunch because of some injuries, their questionable kicker situation, they're carrying Jake Moody on the 53-man roster, but they're not sure if he's going to be able to kick week one. There are obviously concerns even if he is able to kick. They have all these questions on the 53-man roster. What if they've already come to an agreement with Nick Bosa weeks ago, potentially, on their contract extension, but in order to save an extra roster spot on the 53-man, they just simply haven't made it official yet. And they don't want to just immediately, the day after the cutdown day happens, immediately say, here's the contract extension, Nick Bosa, because that seems a little bit suspicious. So some good news the day after. Maybe it happens Friday this week. I don't know, but just the way my mind worked, if they had that advantage, they might want to use it because one roster spot can help you out.
It's an interesting thought. I'll say this, just listening to Jason this morning, he certainly was not fed this. Like, he went to go dig, and he called some people. You know what I mean? It's not like this went out to Rap Sheet,
right? And
then he went to McAfee and went, so the sides are getting close. I'm definitely not dismissing your theory whatsoever, but I wondered. Jason went and did some digging, and here's where I would have your back, though. I do think always, as a rule, these things are further along than we know.
Right. And also, I do think that teams are thinking about what Mark was just laying out. Not you, Mark, but Mark Grandy, Mark with a C.
Sure.
I think that teams are thinking in terms of what he was laying out, especially when you have a roster crunch. The Niners have a lot of players that they'd like to keep. And so how do you do that? You put some on IR if they're hurt, or even if they're kind of hurt, and Nick Bosa's on his own list, and so you try to shuffle it the way you can shuffle it, and then knowing full well that you're going to sign him eventually.
Yeah, I keep looking at this, and I've mentioned this a few times. The lack of stress around it is what resonates to me. If you go to all of the other holdouts, from all those running backs and the Jonathan Taylor situation, Jones with Kansas City, all of them, even Debo last year, there was stress that was shown and shared and fighting in the public. There's been none of that here. Absolutely none of that. So I think that the two sides have probably been, I don't want to say on the same page, but I think closer to the same page than maybe we would normally believe for a holdout that goes this long. I also don't think the finances are all that complicated. I heard a caller on Steiny and Goose say, you do not let players run the team. Nothing's bigger than the logo, one caller said. Another one said, hey, 25 to 30 million, and if that doesn't get it done, you move on. I'm like, that doesn't get it done.
No.
It's not going to be 25 to 30.
I heard them talking 35 to 40, which you and I talked about. And Steiny was using the Aaron Donald comp, which I guess is a comp.
31-7.
31-7?
31-7 is Aaron.
And he's the highest paid defensive player.
Defensive lineman, yes.
But defensive player.
Right, but not pass rusher, not edge rusher.
Right. It would be TJ Watt would be the highest edge
at 28.
Right. So do you want to go south of Aaron Donald? I'm sure Nick Bosa wants to go north of Aaron Donald.
Yeah, I don't. So I think 35. I would be shocked if it's 35. Shocked.
Yeah, that's the number I threw out to you that gets it done.
Of course it gets it done. They would have signed by now if the Niners had offered 35.
Right. Would you be shocked if it's lower than Aaron Donald, though?
Not shocked.
I'd be shocked.
I'd be shocked if it's lower than TJ Watt.
I'd be shocked if it's lower than Aaron Donald.
I think the window is like, yes, I could see it being 30. Yes, I could see it being 32. I could see it being 33. That's the window. Anything less than 29.5 would shock me. Anything more than 33 would shock me. Just because as great as Nick is, I mean, what leg would you have to stand on if you're an agent to call the 49ers and say the top edge rusher in the game makes 28? We want 25% more. Whoa. breaks, brother. Like that.
He's worth it. He's worth it. And you're in a championship window.
Okay, but the way you're saying it, all the players we're talking about are worth it.
Not really.
I mean, TJ
Not
Watt
really.
is worth it. Joey Bosa is worth it. Myles Garrett is worth it. They're all worth it. They're all really, really good. But I would argue back based on the market. No, he's not. He's not worth 25% more than TJ Watt. That's I don't know. Like that to me, I've never seen a deal go like that. Where
25% would be $35 million.
Yes.
Okay.
From $28 million for TJ Watt, that's another touchdown. That's a lot more.
Right. But it's got to be more than Aaron Donald.
I don't know.
I think.
But Aaron's not an edge rusher. So, and
No,
Aaron
but he's a
is,
former DPOY.
Right.
And now you're the current DPOY. So
yeah, I
pay
can
me
see
like
that.
that.
That's fine. I'm totally, yeah. That's why to me the window is higher than Watt to potentially a little bit higher than Aaron. But not exploding those things out of the water. I think it sounds to me like the money is maybe not. I mean, I'm sure it's about money, but it's about the extended money. It could be about the guarantee. It could be about the incentives. It could be about whatever's going on. I don't think the AAV. Like I said, that feels kind of obvious.
Right.
It's somewhere in that 30 to 33 range. Let's move on.
But it's also a little bit of a show situation where he wants to be the highest paid player. If he does want that, then the AAV has to be higher than Aaron Donald.
And I bet, okay. I'd be surprised if that was the sticking point.
Right. Is there a sticking point, or is Grandy right in terms of, the way this is playing out based on the roster crunch and, the other things that play into it? Because if you're not going to have him into camp anyway, and you're okay with that, then you have no motivation to get him signed by Tuesday. And in fact, you actually have more motivation to not sign him by Tuesday.
By Tuesday? Oh, you're talking about last Tuesday.
Correct.
Yesterday. Okay, got it.
By Tuesday, based on, the roster crunch, if you can have him on your, not yet signed list, and then you can add another player accordingly, that actually might be a positive.
Could be a piece of the puzzle.
Grandy's point.
Yeah, it could be a piece of the puzzle for sure. You say, is there a sticking point? The best I can tell reading tea leaves right now, if there was a sticking point, it was a sticking point, not is. I think maybe there was, but doesn't sound like there is anymore.